This is Talking at You, where opinions are just opinions, feelings will be taken into consideration, and free speech is still a right. Hello, this is Rob Hall, Talking at You, coming at you with a more fun episode about Superman and the new movie coming out by James Gunn. Same story. I mean, Superman, written by Jerry Siegel, Joe Shuster. I mean, you're never going to get past the storyline, but we've already seen the origin stories. We know about Superman. We know how he happens, all that kind of stuff. So this is going to be more of the fun. You kind of know what you're getting into already kind of movie. It's going to be a lot more comic book oriented, a lot more of the classic characters, classic looks, classic styles, the outfits, everything. So it's not going to be that, the dark Snyder universe. I mean, they were super awesome. I mean, I loved it. I do love the more adult side of it where you can, bring in more of the realistic, if you want to call it realistic version of comic books, but it is nice. It is nice to see something you can watch with your kids kind of thing. It's not like super violent, you're just breaking that, rating level where it's like, I don't know if I should really watch this with my kids, but it's good. So I think we're going to have some awesome discussion here. You're going to have all kinds of discussions between, this, that versus, David Corenswet versus Henry Cavill, all that stuff, the different actors, the histories. And we're going to be talking to Mike Cairns, which, the guy's, he's amazing with his knowledge. So it's like, he's pretty humble, says he doesn't know much, but he knows quite a bit. So I'm glad he's on here because stuff I would be talking about would just be ridiculous compared to all. He brings it in and he knows stuff. So it's definitely worth a listen. Definitely check it out. Make sure you get all the way to the end because there's just so many things that I didn't know that we're all going to learn about. So to get right to it, here's Mike Cairns, and we're just gonna go from here. And so listen on and stick to the end. I assume you've seen the last trailer, of course. I think everybody has.
I did. Is this, are they following Superman, or is this, do they want just some of that Tim Gunn,
I think they're trying to keep as much of the comic as possible, which is kind of upsetting some of the people that were all set up on the Snyder because it's quite a different.
Well, there is. I don't know. But Snyder, I don't know if he would be receptive to it, or after, what happened with Justice League, he is out no matter what. So what do you think about the trailer?
When I seen Crypto come on the scene, it's like, oh damn. I had high hopes for this movie. They can make it work. If they can make Crypto work, it'll be a damn good movie.
I think they got it. Any writer always, I think, has it tough because how do you make a character that can basically do anything interesting?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. There have been some updates. I remember when Frank Miller redid Batman in the mid 80s. And that's what inspired a lot of the Tim Burton movie, I think. Because it was such a success, they did offer him Superman. They thought, DC thought, this is just going to make as much money. It's going to make Superman relevant. Awesome. And then he started saying, my first scene is that he's going to fly across Metropolis and he's going to be listening to a Tony Robbins self-help tape. and it just horrified them so much they never let him near it again. Just because they're terrified what he's going to do to Superman.
Everybody knows the Superman story. Even the ones that aren't fans of Superman know Superman's story. So you can't just go in there playing around with it and expect nobody to notice.
You got to get people in the seats, though. I don't know.
I think it's going to go in a good direction. The problem with sticking to comic books with Superman is the characters.
Yeah.
The characters, if you're going to stick to comic books with characters, they're pretty out there. Like on paper, they look great. On a comic book page, it looks awesome. Cartoons look great. You put that in like a real life scenario where you see what they actually look like, and that part's not so awesome.
Yeah, well, it's like you mentioned with Crypto. That was, that's of the Kurt Swan era from the 50s and 60s when the comics code still had such a tight grip on everything. No, Batman, no one ever died. It was always Joker doing some wacky hijinks and, we can't have anybody getting killed. We can't have this. So we're going to have super animals and, 5 stories in a row about Lois daydreaming about marrying Superman.
Yeah,
I can't read too much of that because, let's look at the number one thing. Tim Gunn is, his box office credentials for superhero
Hmm.
properties.
You're going to have the dedicated older crowd, and then you're going to have, the whole span of kids that can actually watch the movie now. So, I mean, it was getting kind of dark. You couldn't even let your kids watch it at some.
Oh no, I think he gleefully did that with what the Suicide Squad. That was R rated,
Yeah.
and that's a non-starter with this property. But like
Yeah.
for example, he has what Nathan Fillion, uh, the Green Lantern in this one, I believe. At least that's what it looked to be in the trailer.
There's a lot they're doing in this movie. I mean, they said it's supposed to be like just under 2 hours, and from this trailer alone, there's a lot they're packing in that short period of time.
I think he did say somebody asked him, "Oh, are you going to be the origin?" He says, "No, everybody knows the origin. We're jumping right in. We're not,
Yeah.
So
And that's true. I mean, if you don't know what Superman is by now, you're probably not going to watch the movie anyways. So,
well, yeah. I mean, good for him.
yeah, they'll spend the first two movies just making origins. It's like we just want to get to the fun stuff.
We'll see. I mean, I think they put a lot on his shoulders,
Yeah.
but yeah,
I mean, this is basically the lifeblood of the DC world. I mean, if this doesn't work, then who knows? I mean, it's probably gonna be the death of the DC movies. I mean, unless Batman, you always got Batman, I guess.
well, I know for the comics industry, that's the joke is Batman saved DC sales wise. I mean, I'll use an example. 1940s, Captain Marvel was outselling Superman for a good solid year. I
Hmm.
mean, and then he, of course, disappeared and was bought up pretty cheap. But fortunately for them, if it doesn't work, then they'll just, much like Spider-Man, just do a reboot in 2 3 years. People were horrified. They said, "Oh, Batman's Adam West," and my gosh, the Joker's killing people. I mean, Caesar Romero
Yeah.
never, they had that stuck in their head. So
Yeah, Batman's just one of those. It's an open book, you are not open, but you can do anything you want with Batman. Because we expect him to be dark. Well, I guess now we expect him to be dark and to be a killer, but
it depends what you want. They had 2 or 3 properties at the time, and I'm sure if there was enough money, they would still have the, I don't know what you want to call the one with that Penguin miniseries. That's done very well. Cross it over if possible. But I mean, let's face it though, Nolan's Batman had nothing that just wouldn't have worked. I think if they
yeah.
tried to bring it over.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know if this is just maybe this is the way that things are going to go. I think they're still keeping the Batman as is. I don't think they're really going to play with that one too much. They're just for some reason going more to the comic style Superman for some reason. So
Well, it's a good example. I mean, with Batman, they had the Penguin miniseries, and there's nobody in outfits. There's no superheroes. There's nobody flying in the sky. It's just you
right.
know basically a mob. A very grim mob story.
Penguin, I mean, it's probably going to be one of their next ones they might go after. 'Cause, I mean, I think they've pretty much finished off the Joker. I mean, I don't know what else they could do with that part.
No, no, I don't think you're going to win because Heath Ledger is gone,
Yeah.
and people are going to be comparing you to that. So it's just, I think they ought to go to it. I think you're absolutely correct. Let's just not go to that character because we're going to lose by comparison.
I mean, I don't know. I just really hope that this Superman at least gets, I don't know, three three movies out of it before they call it. They always take us to that second one, and then it's like, we're done now. It's like, we
Oh,
were almost there. I think it's gonna be a good movie. I mean, I don't know what's your favorite Superman of all time. Like, I mean, I'm sure you've seen all the Supermans, at least most of the characters. Like, I'm talking like TV, movie. Well, maybe that's too, not not the same comparison. TV ones versus movie ones are two different kind of Supermans.
well, they are, but Smallville, it had its moments.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, there's a lot of soap opera stuff. Of course, they have to kill time, and they don't have the budget for special effects. On the other hand, they did do some pretty good characters.
Yeah.
I got to give them that. No, I'm thinking he'll do well. I mean, I'm sure they probably gave Gunn a free hand because again, he has the track box office track record. In a similar vein, Marvel, by promoting this multiverse thing, they get to have, that's a Nate problem. They get to explain away inconsistencies by not explaining them away. Oh, it's a multiverse thing. That's why you have this person here and this person back who you thought was dead. I mean,
Right.
yeah. Well, you can't do all 80 years of comic continuity and keep everything great. I mean, but again, that's the crypto thing. It's like that most writers in the last 40 years have tried to forget that and ignore it. So I think Gunn definitely has something to say, just having fun with characters.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. If it doesn't work, it just doesn't come back in the second one. So, I mean,
well, I mean, it's.
I don't know what to do with Crypto if he doesn't come back, but
I could only. I'm assuming he knows darn well what he's doing. I mean, if you look at comics, what Superman had a super dog. He had a super horse.
yeah.
Supergirl had a super cat. I mean, this just, you know.
I mean, it's instant. I mean, they instantly, as soon as they show in that part, that the toys are being made right now. I mean, kids are going to be walking around with Cryptos. I mean,
well, I don't know. That's an unknown. You will find out. Did Tim Gunn have complete reign, or is this kind of like a Baby Yoda thing, where it's like, no, we need toys that kids are going to buy. You know?
Yeah, it could be a little bit of both. I mean, I'm sure it's part of the struggle. You know, he's told one thing, he's got to make this work. It's like, okay, but it's like at some point you just got to say, I can't make this work, guys. I don't know. I mean, there's some limit. I don't know.
He's got a lot of superhero movies under his belt. Of course, have you ever seen his superhero movie, The Special? That was his first superhero movie. It's very low budget to no budget. I think Thomas Hayden Church and Rob Lowe are your big names in that. I don't think there's a single fight in it. It's mostly just kind of it's a comedy where it follows them around trying to market themselves as, you know, marketable superheroes, and they're very D-list superheroes. Is definitely worth a look because it's more of a comedy where superheroes are trying to market themselves, and Tim Gunn plays Minute Man. He's kind of like an Ant-Man clone.
Oh.
His biggest problem, though, is everybody calls him Minute Man, and he gets very angry with everyone, correcting them because he's trying to promote himself in the press. I think with Gunn's track record, Three Guardians, Suicide Squad, he has enough movies that have done fairly well at the box office.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be bad. I think it's going to be. I mean, I was skeptical. I mean, that trailer was pretty impressive. I liked it. So I mean, I was going in there totally skeptical and thinking like this is just gonna be horrible. I mean, I'll watch it because it's Superman and you know I'll like it, but I mean, I knew when seen that cloud coming towards, like, oh, they're not gonna do it. They're not gonna bring the dog into this, but they did it and it looked good. So
well, here's what I find interesting is okay, we don't have Batman, we don't have Wonder Woman, we don't have the Justice League, but we have, let's see, what, Hawkwoman, Guy Gardner, who's like a second-rate Green Lantern. We have Mr. Terrific. We have Metamorpho. We have a lot of B-list heroes that.
Yeah, the ones that the old timers are going to know. They're going to know the characters. Like, I mean, the ones that know these characters, they love that fact that they're in the movie.
Oh, sure. I mean, but you know what? Hawkwoman from the animated series is the most known person, and that's from the animated series. I don't know. I wonder if he just picked them because he has a lot more freedom.
He probably doesn't. The other ones are way played out. I mean, so it's like these are new, fresh faces that we haven't seen in movies, and it's kind of nice. So,
not to be suspicious, but I'm wondering if maybe the pitch was, hey, I might need to kill somebody, so
yeah,
I know you're never going to let me touch the Justice League, but what about this guy? And then, right. Well, he hasn't had a comic on his own since the '70s. Sure.
Yeah, I mean, it always gives you that option, I guess. So. Snyder's Superman was awesome. I loved it. I liked the darkness of it. I think the story was going to start getting pretty bad. I mean, it was going to get to the point where Lois is probably going to die. You know, that whole storyline and then Batman was involved somehow. It's like, it would just been, I don't know. It just, to go where they were going and try to keep it to where it wasn't like ridiculous characters. I think it was going to get to a point where you really weren't going to be able to market the kids very much longer. So,
well, yeah. And I think they kind of jumped the gun a bit there. Like, for example, I'll use, for example, in the Marvel universe, they're going through characters like crazy. They're just chewing up through decades of characters because they're looking for the next hit. Now, for the Snyder Justice League, we have Superman. Well, we have Lex Luthor, and by the end of that movie, he's in jail and he's a very minor character because now it's all about Darkseid. We got to promote that.
Oh, that was actually kind of cool. I would have liked to see that next one. That would have been really nice, I bet.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's the innate problem. You can't have Luthor always going to get into a fist fight. That's not a very satisfying conclusion. Whereas Darkseid, yes, you could have a huge fight.
Yeah.
I mean, now for this newest one, Nicholas Hoult is Luthor. He has a pretty good track record for some of his movies. I mean, I think he's made some pretty good choices. Yep. I mean, his biggest movie before this, would be Mad Max, I think. So he's been in the big budget movies before. He seems like a good choice.
I mean, you got your mindset how you like your characters. I mean, we all have our characters that
sure.
no one's ever going to be better than them. So,
I think Eisenberg as Luthor, he really didn't get much of a chance.
I mean, he did the part well. It's just the look. It was hard to warm up to, but I think he had the right mentality to it. He did learn that character. I mean, you hated the guy, and he did a good luck through it. He's like he wanted.
Yeah. We'll see, but I think Holt, he's been in the big budget movies before. We'll see how he goes. I mean, he seems to be a pretty good actor. But again, I think it's all. I'm sure Gunn probably has had the freedom to do the movie he wanted to do. But again, I could be wrong. Crypto might be a nod to the marketing.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to sell. I mean, the toys are going to sell at the shelves, I'm sure, but I don't know if it's going to be, maybe it's just like a one time, you get to see it, and then the rest of the movie is kind of gone. I mean, I don't know if they're going to incorporate them into the entire movie, because I don't know how you'd, I don't know. I mean, a dog, the cape, it's like, a dog with a cape is really necessary, but
well, I don't know. I mean, we don't know. I mean, is it a sellout thing like a Baby Yoda? I mean, I don't see Tim Gunn. I do think it is clever though, because it does make the toy makers happy. Oh, we get to sell a fluffy dog. Awesome. I mean,
it might be marketing. I don't know, because my kid, he's never seen Star Wars in his life, but he wants a Baby Yoda. So
yeah,
I mean, it does something.
Yeah, I will give him points. It could make the merchandise people happy, and he gets to make the movie he wants. So,
I mean, there's the whole plot how the dog comes about, but it's like, how do you? Because I mean, as far as storylines go, origin stories. I mean, we know Superman's story, but nobody really knows Krypto's situation.
To be fair, Krypto's origin was written by a guy making $50 a month back in the 1950s. So. He didn't really think that we'd really be looking at this seriously 75 years later.
Yes, it is crazy how it stemmed out. I mean, at first, the Superman character didn't really have much of powers at all. Guy with really good strength and just stemmed from where it is now.
Well, yeah, and the early, I don't know if you ever saw some of the early ones from the 30s, but I think the first version of Luthor. There's another famous issue where some bankers foreclosing on a bunch of farmers, I think, because of the Dust Bowl. So he goes in and he basically says, well, it'd be really nice if you let these people have their mortgages, or this safe might land on you. Pretty criminal activity. Didn't age well, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah. It's not just as you're bullying people to do things.
No, he's like, well, it'd be terrible if this safe landed on somebody. Real mafia blackmailing type here.
Yeah, the Superman versus Homelander, right?
Well, I mean, let's face it. There's a reason why they, picked Superman, to be that character. But I don't think it was. I think it was just an easy character to riff off of. What if you had a character that could do anything? Why would they be nice? I mean, and again, that coming back to it, that's a tough thing for a writer. How do you make challenges for a person that can do anything? I do think it's unusual, and maybe they're saving up a lot of stuff for this movie, but for the trailer that we saw other characters, but we didn't see other villains other than Luthor.
Yeah, no, they left a lot open. I mean, they start out, he's a bloody mess in the snow. Well, yeah, that happened somehow. There's a lot we're get to see here yet. So
yeah, well, I mean, and the characters we did see that were heroes were all looked like it was in Metropolis, whereas that scene definitely was not in Metropolis. So something is able to beat them up.
Yeah, so there might be characters we're not even aware of yet that's going to be in here. Big characters, maybe. I mean,
yeah, the only characters we saw were what you would traditionally call heroes, just kind of second string, third rate heroes.
Right. And they're going to have to have one big one in there. I mean, they can't just be Lex Luthor. It's going to be somebody bigger than him, even. So,
I just can't see any of those characters being a threat,
yeah,
as it were. You know, I
no.
mean, Gardner, the character Nathan Fillion's playing, famously got beat up by Batman. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and so, you know,
I mean, unless it's a ring full of kryptonite, you're shooting kryptonite right into his system. But it's
yeah,
like,
well, it could be. I mean, I don't know. We'll see. Like, Nathan Fillion, what he played detachable limb, you know, the guy with detachable limbs in the Suicide Squad movie.
yeah.
So he's used to good comedic effect. And you've seen the photos where with the hairstyle. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how serious they're taking the character, or maybe completely, or maybe not. I don't know. We'll see. They didn't show, other than a brief image of Luthor. They didn't show any villains, so we will see. I think he certainly has enough experience at it, and he knows that this is the one he has to really hit it out of the park with.
Oh yeah, it's going to do good. I mean, it's going to sell. They're going to make their money on it. I mean, that's no doubt. I mean, really, it's going to come down to if this sells to the kids. I mean, that's going to sell it right there. I mean,
Well,
because
they do have an opportunity. It doesn't have to be much of a success to look really good in comparison. um, it looks like very bad CGI, where it looks like a lumpy guy with gray skin and a horn sticking out his head. That is it.
oh my gosh, yeah, yeah. Like I said, there's some
It
things just on paper look a whole lot better.
yeah.
Just,
So that's Sony. You know, I mean, that might be the final nail in the coffin for their Spider-Man franchise. Sorry, but you know, like any movie, like the last Spider-Man movie made what? I don't know if it hit a billion, but it was the most profitable Spider-Man movie ever made. Um, but every ancillary character, be it Craven, Morbius, Madam Web.
it really comes down to the person that's doing it. It helps when the person doing it is into comics, and it helps.
Oh, sure.
I mean, I think that's where Gunn's going to excel because he's a big comic buff himself. So
Well, even Gunn's what that cartoon he did, Creature Commandos. I know that got a lot of criticism, but it's actually pretty funny. You know, I've seen a little bit of it. I mean, what do you think of the fact that they went for a new actor for this Superman movie instead of keeping Cavill?
I imagine there's probably was a huge budget issue there to begin with, but I think they had to do that. I don't think you could have put Cavill back in that role and in the way they're doing it now and look at it any other way. I mean, it would have been
Yeah,
you would have been fixated on the Snyder version of him, so it would have been impossible. But yeah, as far as what they replaced him with, I think it's a good match. I mean, I think he looks the part. I mean, I don't have any issues as far as his appearance and the overall look you expect Superman to look like and stuff like that. So, I mean, it's not like I said, it's not Nicolas Cage, so I'm happy.
no.
Anything than that is fine. So,
Oh, come on. They had CGI Nicolas Cage in the last Flash movie for a cameo.
I just can't. I just can't. I just can't. I don't think there's any way I could have ever been okay with that.
I don't know. The CGI, oh,
Yeah, that was rough. I mean, I would rather have seen a CGI Reeves than Cage. So.
no, I don't know why they think it looks good, though. I really don't.
I don't know. Maybe they weren't worried about it looking good. I don't know. But
Well, then again, to be fair, the actor that played the Flash had a bit of a criminal record going on right around that time.
yeah, just get it in, get it out, and hope no one remembers. But
Yeah. So
yeah,
that guy, I don't think they're going to hire again because
yeah. I mean, I thought it was an okay Flash, but I mean, yeah. So you can't be. I mean, he obviously has some weird issues going on. So
yes, yeah, there was a couple of them. You know, I
yeah,
think what he attacked some tourists in Hawaii or something like that.
yeah. He had a lot going on. I mean, he definitely got some psychological things happening. He's just all over the board. So.
Yeah, insurance coverage for movie stars, yeah, it just wouldn't be worth it. They're not going to
Yeah.
cover them.
Yeah. I think it'd be nice if they kept two versions going. Like the Cavill Snyder version for, more of the adults that like the darker version. Then you have the Gun version for the kids, the comic book, people that were true to the comic, that really study that. Maybe keep that version for them and just have both versions go at the same time.
That actually is a pretty good idea because it hedges your bets.
Yeah. I mean, you always have that fail safe. If one don't work, you still got this one to fall back on. I mean, it's
And you can also argue, well, in the comics, we have Earth 1 Superman and Earth 2 Superman.
Yeah, that whole multiverse thing, which I'm still warming up to, but yeah.
I mean, I meant that was kind of a clever way to do it. With multiverse, actually, they did it first, to be fair.
Yeah.
I'll say this is 10 Cent Plague is an interesting book if you want to look up, what comics had to go through. But anyway, thank you for the invite.
Yes, thanks for coming. That was awesome. Well, all right. Hope you enjoyed that. Another fun episode. Thanks to Mike for coming along and giving us all that awesome knowledge. Be sure to follow and check it out on future episodes and then past episodes. Pretty easy to find on all the platforms. If you see a spot where you get to like or share or leave a quick review, that's fine. That'd be awesome. Rob talking at you, and I'm looking forward to talking at you again.